Welcome, everyone, and thanks for watching another episode of The Divine Science, and thanks for hanging out with me for the next few minutes. I've had a change of heart about the protests. I have. The peaceful occupants have finally swayed me to their side. Okay, yeah, spoke way too soon. All right, we're going to start out today with something I said about a month ago. Watch this. They wanted this. They want this AstroTurf uprising because this is going to give, well, they think is going to give them more legitimacy in an election, which it's not, and this is going to backfire, and this is going to bite them hard. I guarantee it. This is going to get out of control. Alright, so the previous video, the first video watched of the protesters getting crazy, that was out of Oakland. So the reports are now coming out of Oakland that the protests are getting violent. The flames have been stoked and there's no end in sight. There's chaos in California. I said this before, didn't I? I said this was this was inevitable. This is going to happen. Violence is the end product, and we'll get to why that is in a second. And those of you who are my friends that said, this is just a peaceful protest. These are peaceful protests. These are people that are angry at the system, and they want their voices heard. Well, I'm telling you now, you need to denounce these protests. I had a friend today who posted a link to an Occupy KFC. Are you kidding me? Because they're angry that they're ordering chicken from some people that endangered forest? What are you talking about? The world is going over the edge. Europe is about to fall apart. America is tipping over the edge, and you're worried about KFC? They're trying to turn it into this. The protests are turning into this.
Grandpappy told my pappy back in my day, son, a man had to answer for the wicked that he done. Take all the rope in Texas, find a tall oak tree, round up all of them bad boys, hang 'em high in the street, for all the people to see. That justice is the one thing.
Now, if you knew, those of you who are my friends that agree with this, or anybody else, if you knew how they planned on getting us to their whatever they want, then you would have known that violence was inevitable. How is this a surprise? Why are we surprised at what's happening in Oakland? It's going everywhere else too. It's not stopping in Oakland because this is their ideology. How do I know this? Well, this is what they want. This is what they want. Let me read to you from the book. All right? In terms of Marxist doctrine, violent revolution is the only way out. To see this, we need only reason back from a different conclusion. Suppose we assert that the transition to socialism can be made peacefully. That is, with the consent of the capitalists. This, of course, implies that the capitalists have thought beyond the forms of the capitalist system. But once we grant that possibility, it follows that thought and will in the past may not have been wholly or always determined by the mode of production. And we'll get to that a little bit. What does that mean? And this in turn implies that economic development itself may have been brought about by creative thought as well as by objective development. Our grand materialist conception of history is reduced to a proposition of more or less, to a great extent, and sometimes or often. The economy affects the rest of society. Sometimes thought takes the lead in historical development. Sometimes the unintended forces of the economy. All this may sound like cautious good sense, but it is not the Marxian prophecy. Prophecy, no, not philosophy, prophecy. This is why I'm not surprised that this is happening. So, you see, ideologically, they think the 1% will never change, and that violence must happen. Everything is objective, not subjective to human thought or innovation, but driven objectively by economic formulas at a given point in history. This is the fundamental belief in Marxism. If people could reason their way out of a flawed system, then Marxism falls apart. So now I say to you, I told you. I told you. Turn away. Denounce these protests for everything they stand for. And help fix America the right way by voting for people who hold fast to constitutional principles. Who know that the system is flawed, but want to fix it within the confines of the Constitution, not by violent revolution and wealth distribution. I said in the beginning of these protests not to give any credence to what was happening. And now you're starting to see why. Thanks for watching. Powering to take back this country. Talk to you soon.